All right, hey. So I today um, was thinking about, so the download today was me thinking about a connection that I seemingly have with animals. Um, and so, of course, like any other day, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you a story. We'll go from there. I already have some cards out, and we'll kind of meet in the middle. So, years ago, I was at an event and we were done the event. I came outside and for whatever reason, I don't know if it was just boredom or what have you, I saw a group of ants and they were just, you know, moseying on by. And I just decided to step on one. But immediately after stepping on that ant, I felt bad. So I bent down and I took a look to see, I guess, what was happening here. And what I discovered was that it was a whole thing going on because the ant that I stepped on was clearly hurt. It didn't seem like he was dead, but he was hurt. And the other ants that were around it rushed to him, did whatever it was that they had to do to that ant. And the next thing I know, that ant was on its feet and it was walking. That's something that we don't even do for each other. But yet the ants were doing it for each other. And I think that that's something significant, for us to understand that within the design of just animals, birds, just things that we have here, it's already embedded for us to assist each other, us to be able to come to each other's aid and do the things that we need to do for each other. Unfortunately, like I said, we don't always do that. But we can see that the ants were smart, seemingly smarter than us. So I say that because, okay, years later after that, I end up going to a beach. Um, my then boyfriend at the time, we went and we're just chilling. But I noticed kind of off to the side a crow. And the crow was just looking at me and, looking at us. And, of course, I'm looking like, what you want? Like, you got something to say? You want, like, whatever. And eventually, of course, the bird just flies off. So the following year, we weren't at the same hotel, but it was similar. It was nearby, um, and we're sitting out, and I see a crow. But this time, the crow that I saw was limping. And I kid you not, it was almost like in the way I saw it, he had the bandage, the little white bandage from the cartoons, and he was just limping. Um, but it broke my heart because just because it's a bird didn't mean that it didn't deserve to be cared for or didn't deserve to have someone advocate on its behalf. And so I sent out a prayer for the bird. And almost immediately, I see the bird strong enough to take off and fly away. I think it's twofold. I think, for one, it's understanding the connections that we have to animals and not downplaying things, not downplaying animals, not downplaying things that we seemingly think is less than, because of the fact that We don't know. I say this all the time. We don't know what they know. In fact, I just watched a video about crows actually. And what they were saying was that the crows were very unique in the fact that when they see you, they've been looking at you for a minute. Like they've been monitoring you. They've been picking up on who you are. They've been like they said, like, are you the kind that leaves food? Are you the kind that doesn't? When you hear a crow call, do you turn? Do you just ignore it? All these things the crow is picking up about you, whether if you knew it or didn't know it or not. Um, but yet we would dismiss the crow as if like the crow is not intelligent, as if the crow doesn't understand because why it's a crow. And it's one of those things that I always say that we need to stop doing. We need to stop sitting around and thinking that just because we don't understand something that it's not real or beneath us or something along those lines. But what I found interesting was that the crow was identifying with the person. The crow wasn't identifying with any other factors except who that person was, what you like to do, where you go, where you came from, what's and that's intelligent. And so maybe I'm saying all this because somebody needed to hear it as a word. Maybe something within what I said was a confirmation to you for something that you needed to hear. I did pull some cards. They're not coming off as readily, connected to what's going on. So let's see what's happening here. Um, I think that just as that bird was dismissed, just as the crow could easily be dismissed, or the ants were dismissed when I stepped on it. I think that we need to liken that to ourselves. Like there's somebody out there that feels just like the crow, feels just like the ant, and needs to understand that you are seen. Although small, although, kind of seemingly out of focus, you are seen by those that where it's important to see you. Remember to speak life to yourself. So even if you're feeling kind of down about how you're being perceived by another, always remember that it's you and the connection with your divine, and remember to always channel that that frequency of empowerment for self. Because even in when I was the whole experience that I had with the ant and the experience that I had with the birds all seemed like individual experiences, although I was there with other people. Why? Because we don't always, somebody can be right next to you and they don't experience what you experience because they don't understand in the way that you do, and we're different. It's accepting differences. It's being able to be all right with learning new things, being all right with being called weird by some. I'm out here praying for birds, looking at ants, you know? One would think I was weird, I'm strange, but I'm learning. I'm connecting with the things that are around me. What are you doing? And, maybe it was important for somebody to have that as a confirmation. You could be weird But the weirdo energy that you give is not strange, if that makes sense. Like I always say, there's two types of weirdos. There's like weird where you're bad, and where it's like ill. But then there's a good weird, like where it's like, oh, like whimsical, hey, that type of thing. Um, yeah, yeah, you're different. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. You're just different, and that's okay. We need to hear that. We need to hear that more. That it's okay to be different. It's okay that if you're creating something that no one else has ever seen, because that's what makes you a ruler. That's what makes you someone that is in a position of power, that gives you power when you have the ability to start and create something. Because what you're doing is you're building an empire. You're creating this life for yourself. And honestly, I am super proud. We need to all encourage each other to do the things that we know is right so that we can live and experience life the way that we want to. Well, my name is Thija Renee. If you liked my content, please go ahead and subscribe. There will be videos like this and more to come. Go ahead and like it. Go ahead and share it with somebody that you think can benefit from this message. I definitely had a wonderful time chatting with you today, and I hope that you stay absolutely amazing.